My topic today is the why. I kind of believe in the why. We have three different whys. We have the one from the past, which is kind of why me. We have the why from the past, which is kind of why me. We have the why of today, which is why not me. And then we have the why of the future, is where we're going with the vision for our lives. I want to talk about all three of them today. I think some of you are going to sort of relate. I had to run back here and get my little clicker thing. Some of you have heard me speak and tell a little bit about my story and my life, and it's kind of interesting. I think some of you will probably relate to it. I know I've got a chance to meet some of you and hear your stories. Because that's truly what our business is. It's just a lifetime of stories. And one of the things I've learned in my life, and I'm an older guy, one of the things I've learned in my life, that the journey starts at birth and ends when you're done. And a lot of us like to leave some of it out. But as long as all the days of my life that I've walked, I realize that each one has vital importance. As a young child, I grew up in a really dysfunctional home. I don't know, today they say dysfunctional, people kind of wonder what that was, but for me it was. I ended up obese, 80 pounds overweight when I was 12 years old. My mother was an alcoholic and drank for 30 years. My father left when I was 7 years old. In fact, my father just died. My real father just died about a month ago. And I've seen him probably 5 or 10 times in my lifetime. Kind of a sad story. My dad's wife's son called me up and asked me if I could give him the money to bury my father because he's sitting in a refrigerator in Sacramento, California. And so I look back at my life and I look at those days, and I spent a lot of my life in a closet just like this. And I was hiding out because I didn't want to see what was on the outside. As a young child, it was this ability to get away from all the pain, to get away from all the hurt, to get away from all the, and ask myself, in this position as an 8-year-old, 7-year-old, 6-year-old, ask me why? Why me? And I got to believe that some of you even today understand the whole pain, and they understand the whole thing of spending their life as a child asking why this is happening to me. But one of the things I've learned in my life about the breakthroughs, that when you have breakdowns, you have breakthroughs. And I've really learned in my life that every time God showed up, I had a breakthrough. And I didn't totally understand it. I just know that there was always this support, this word, this message to me, even looking out through the keyhole, hoping nobody would show up. I remember as a young kid, I remember taking the doorknob off the outside of the closet and hiding it so nobody could get in. I didn't think I could get out. And I wonder how many of us today live inside this closet where the doorknob's on the inside and no one can get in. I think we spend a lot of our life hiding in that position from the pain of our lives and all the struggles of what you're going through right now. And one of the things I learned that was easy for me to do was blame my life for where I was. Blame the past for where I was and holding on to that pain, almost using it as a crown, if you will. A crown, if I'm going to stay in this closet, I'm going to hide out in here because that's kind of what that's my life. People would say, why haven't you done more with your life? And I said, well, you don't know where I've been or where I've come from. And I've learned that people hold on to pain because it keeps them somehow connected to the innocence of youth. I saw a movie recently, maybe some of you have seen it, it's called Heaven's for Real. It's Heaven for Real. Heaven is for Real. And in it, the gentleman was talking to this woman whose son was killed in the war. And she said in this thing, it was such a profound statement, she said, I hold on to the pain because it's the only memory I still have. So that pain kept her connected to her son. I wonder how many of us today hold on to that pain so we can stay connected. Because we think if we release it, we no longer have that connection to families, to fathers, to mothers, to relationships. And so many of us sit in these closets and we realize that there's no exit for us. That's the past. Some of you today, I've got to believe in an audience of almost 3,000 people that some of you kind of understand what I'm saying. Some of you are still in this closet, hiding out. Not willing to step forward and not willing to finally be able to walk away and say, that's one chapter. Because I realized, guess what gave me the ability to look at my life differently was overcoming. What gave me the ability to look at my life differently was the ability to know now that there was purpose in it. And I didn't know there was purpose in it until I realized that I'd overcome it. And if you don't overcome your past, if you don't overcome the closet, if you're not able to step out of the closet, we never can see purpose in it. It always seemed like it's sorrowful. It was an awful thing. And some of you sit here today and your past is still nothing but tainted with pain and sorrow and hurt. And you're spending your time at whatever age you are saying, why me? Why me? And I realize that paralyzes us. It keeps us from being able to move on. So the why of the past is why me. The thing that transformed my life and changed my life was when I just made a decision. And I know it sounds crazy, and some of you say, well, a decision, it's that easy. That's what you have to do. Because some of you have only lived the first 5 chapters of your life, even though you're on your third chapter as far as your age, but you've only lived the one. Because you won't allow yourself, you've closed the door, you've closed the book. You said, not me. See, I got to believe that I look at the people here in the front row, and I look at their lives, and I look at the overcoming and what they've been able to do. I know it's because they made a choice. A choice to change, a choice to be somebody different, a choice to have a why so big that nothing can keep me from changing. And that why is tied into the purpose. And when it intersects your purpose and your why, when they intersect and you understand that yes, there was a reason for this. I don't get it, I don't understand it, I didn't want to live there, but there was purpose in it. And now I can go out and I can do something, because if I share my life with someone who's still there, it gives them hope that they can get out. And a lot of you sit here today and that's what you do. You come here and you go, I want a breakthrough, Greg. The breakthrough is going to be, it's not just your training, the breakthrough is going to be what happens in your heart and your soul today. When you make a decision that that's it, I'm done. I'm done from living here. I'm done from living in that closet. I'm done just peering out and not stepping out into doing the things I need to do. I'm finished. I'm going to draw the line. I'm going to change my life. Because when I tell my story, when I share with you where I came from, you guys realize you won't believe it. And that's true about every one of us. We have stories from the day you're born. And it's either going to look back and regret, or you're going to look back and go through the struggle and be able to celebrate. And you're going to make that decision this weekend. Because we can give you all the best training in the world. We can teach you all the things you need to know about the 5 and 5 and all the different things you're going to learn. But until you're ready for your breakthrough, until you decide that you're not going to leave this weekend without a different person driving home, a different person flying home. Someone said, I'm going to leave this company. I deserve to leave this company. See, that's the next one. The next one is, why not me? You need to ask yourself, why not me? Right? Why not me? You think this leadership, you think success, you think money is just for these people? There's a small select people, and all of a sudden God says, well, I've got great purpose for your life, but the rest are just hanging out. You're in an environment, in a culture that blows my mind. You're in a culture that's saying to you, we want to be there for you. We want to lift you up. We want to believe in you. We want to encourage you. We want you to become great. And where you came from, that's okay. Share it with us. Tell us your story. But every time you share a struggle, share an overcoming. Every time you share a breakdown, share a breakthrough. And those are choices we get to make. And I know some of you can make it this weekend. I came to events like this. I heard speakers up there share, and I go, that's my life. That's me. It's why not me? Why not you? Why not you? Because if you were anything like me when I was sitting in that closet, it was his voice just saying, someday you're going to do something great with your life. And I believe that was that DNA that got put inside of me at birth. And you just knew that someday you were going to do something great. You didn't know what it would be. You didn't know how you were going to do it. But you knew. Because it's a calling. And when you have that, it's like an illness. You can't get over it. You can try. You can try all of a sudden, well, I don't need to do it. You got to get it done. And you out there know who I'm talking about. There's no choice. I have to finish. I can't sleep if I don't change lives. I can't sleep if I don't impact. You guys are sitting here, and some of the biggest income earners in this company are in this audience. Some of the greatest leaders are in this audience. I had a chance this morning to do a men's breakfast for Jeremy Worrell's team. A bunch of men that I'm wholly in love with. I met these guys a few weeks back. We were over there, we were sharing lives with one another. These guys were sharing, I kind of opened up and started sharing about my life. Some of the things that these men go, amen, brother, I hear that. And one of the things I told them is that God uses messed up people. Look at my life. I mean, think about it. God uses messed up people. I'm a testimony of that. Because, see, we know if we ever do anything great, we can't ever take credit for it, for where we've been. All right? We always have to go to what? To who we are. We know that. And you're the same person out here. And you're sitting here today, and you're not intimidated by these big kids. You don't even question, I'll be there. I'm going to be there. You will, but you got to change. You got to grow. And it's not just a matter of changing the fact of what you're doing every day. You got to do the right things, but you got to be the right person. And one thing I love about Isaac and his family is that we will be the right leadership. This culture will fertilize and bring on people of integrity and character and people of values. And I know one thing about you guys. I knew when I was sitting in that closet, you want that. You want to matter. You want to feel valued. You want significance. That's what drives you. It's not the cars. That's why you come here and you go, that's what I want. I want to love my life. I want to love my wife like Josh Denny does. I want to be in a relationship like John and Tiff have. I want to be able to communicate my life like Jess did last night. Or have a heart and passion like Casey and Elena. That's what I want. And we just work hard to keep that culture, so this is what you have. I can promise you in this company, and I know it because I know Isaac and his family, you will never ever see someone on this stage whose life is not authentic. That's not real. That fires me up. That's why I want you here. Why not me? Why not you? Why not you make that? I love those things. What do you want to do? What do you want to eat? Where do you want to go? What are your limits? We have none. You weren't designed at birth for limits. I believe we're born and at birth what we get is this plate full of potential and talent and ability. And our responsibility as leaders, our responsibility as family members, as dads, is to go out and empty that plate. So the day you're gone, there's nothing left on it. That's where your value comes from. That's where you matter. That's where you feel significant. But some of us need to turn the heat up on the dream. We got to turn the heat up on the dream. Some of your dreams aren't big enough. If you're trying to get a car, it ain't big enough. You're trying to get a big house, it ain't enough. Okay, it's got to go beyond that. Your dream has to be becoming the purpose of the person you're driven and designed to be. That's your greatest dream. Because when you do that, all the rest will come. And so you're purpose-driven. Purpose-driven, a life change. I always say it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about others. That's the little culture that we designed and we built this company. It's not about you. Think about that. How big is your dream if it's not about you? How big a dream do you have? How much do you fear failure when it's not about you? Because when we fear failure, that's about us. We fear we're all afraid of people. What are they going to say? That's about you. That's selfish. Get beyond that and watch what happens in your life. This room will be your downline. Because it's not about you. That's a driving force of the Ben Shabbat family. That's a driving force in the organization. That's the culture. You're stepping into a culture that's made for the design and the purpose that you were designed for. But you got to turn up the heat. I mean, an audacious dream. One that's crazy. One that scares people. One that when you share it, they go, what have you been smoking? Right? I mean, fire that dream. I use an example sometimes if Josh Denny came home from work or came home from a road trip or whatever, and he drove around the corner and his house was on fire, he'd go flying up there and Cindy was standing outside and said, hey, are the girls okay? Are the girls okay? And the but the girls are saved. Josh ain't going to the fire for the car. He ain't going to the fire for the pictures or the material things. But let me change one scenario. What if the fireman says, Mr. Denny, your two daughters are inside. Are you going to stop Josh Denny from getting into the house? Your dream needs to be the kid in the fire. That's what it's got to be. It's got to be that intense. Whether you're going in, no matter what you're going in. My dream was just to be able to change my life enough to have kids and love them. When you grow up without a dad or an example of a dad, you don't even know as a man how to be a dad. So my dream my whole life was just to be the good enough dad that I could break the chains of my past and pass on a blessing to my son. I have a beautiful son. He just turned 30 years old. I have another son who's 26. A beautiful daughter. And I said, God, just give me the ability to change it enough so I can pass on a blessing in his life so he doesn't have to deal with all the crap that I dealt with. God, let me just bless you. These are my grandkids. Two sons, Hayden and Jeff. I was with my son last night, sat in the chair with my wife, those two little boys sit on his lap. And I watched how he loved them. And I watched how he cared about them. And my son's a real ADD driver type, played professional baseball, but he's just sitting there loving those two boys. And when I sat there and watched him, I thought about that closet. What would happen if I stayed there? What difference would it make? Why do you get up and say, why not me? Now look at the blessing. It's like God just gave us a blessing. You promised 7 generations of blessing because your life changed. I don't know how we have grandkids. It's just a weird feeling. Look at them. And they're like twin boys, you know, like one's 16 pounds, one 5'13". They come popping out. Hayden Jet. I told my son, if you're going to name your kid Jet, that dude better be a receiver or a quarterback. You don't want an offensive lineman. 275, what's your name? He already walked away. So. But that's a blessing. But see, if we hadn't started there to hear of the dream of where we're going, what we can do, what we want to accomplish, all the things in our life that we can do. You know, what we do in this business is we go from the past to the future. And don't you dare this weekend stay in the past. Don't you dare this weekend stay here. Why not me? You need to decide to move forward. And I can tell you this. On the street of Christ, we need you. I promise you, we need your story. We needed you when you hid in the closet. We needed you when you were abused like I was. We needed you. And that journey had purpose in it. And for every single one of you that decide that this is your weekend to break through, that your time to be counted. Your time for your purpose to drive forward. And you can begin to build your business with your financial goals, the stretch goals, the different kinds of goals it's going to take. 90-day plan, right? 1-year plan. We all know the difference. It's a day-to-day thing. It's a daily thing. But even with all these financial 5-year missions, what's your dream lifestyle? Where do you want to live? Where do you want to travel to? What would you do if you didn't have to worry about money? Who would you help? Those are all the things that drive us. You know, a lot of times it's what we want to do. And today I just want to challenge you. Today as I wrap up, is who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Because on your journey to what you want to do, you've got to become something great. Not because of who you are, because of who you are. If you understand that. In the early 1900s, there were hundreds of thousands of people coming to the United States. Every day, thousands of people coming through Ellis Island, the U.S. every single day. I went down there and tour of Ellis Island. It was really interesting. They had the guy, the tour guide, had all the knowledge of Ellis Island and everything. You could look up family ancestry and that kind of stuff. But he told me the story about the people that came in from other countries. And there were inspectors that inspected their lives and inspected who they were, how they looked. And if they didn't fit a certain criteria, they were not allowed in the country. And I wonder about some of us here today, would we be allowed in with our background and criteria? Would we be accepted? And they were looking at things like if someone was blind, they weren't allowed in the country. If someone was handicapped, they weren't allowed in the country. And the way they moved them out was they put a big white X on their back. Right on their jacket, a big white X, and that meant as they moved through the line, they were going to be separated from their family and sent back to their country. He told the story of this one family, big family. And the father, or grandfather, who was kind of the patriarch of the family, had mental issues. He had like dementia. So he had a staring look on his face, so they knew that if anybody saw him, that they would take the grandpa and they would take him and make him go back. So they kind of circled around him. And sure enough, somebody worked through the circle and came and put a big X on grandpa's back. The people were breaking down and crying and just their hearts were torn apart. So he just kept moving with us slowly through the line with the white X on his back. He got to one particular inspector, and the inspector leaned over and whispered to the daughter, "Turn his jacket inside out." Whoa. And the woman was kind of shocked at first, and she said, "Pardon me," he goes, "Turn his jacket inside out." So they all kind of made a circle around the man. And he whispered again, "Turn it inside out." An inspector, someone who didn't have any tie to these people, but just showed up in their life and said, "Turn your jacket inside out." So they did. He made his way through. And the inspector said he made it to the country. What do we do in this business? What does John the Light do on a daily basis? What do the leaders do? We sit down with people and we whisper, "Turn your jacket inside out." Turn your jacket inside out. We have needs, we have sufferings, we have things that are so obviously wrong with us. Nobody asks you where you've been. All we ask in this company, in this business is, where do you want to go? So every day you show up in someone's life. Every day you decide to come out of the closet. Get out of the pain and the sorrow of the past. And you walk into a living room somewhere, whether it's a spa party or a one-on-one, and you're wallowing with the 5 products. I want you to remember this. What you're really doing is you're looking in the eye. You're taking them to the attic of their life. You're taking the dusty old big trunk that's up there. And you're helping them lift it down and putting it all back on their table. And you're helping them lift that off and bring those dusty old dreams out on the table again. And say, "You can have this. I believe in you." And at the same time, we're saying, just turn your jacket inside out. That's what we do. I want to challenge you today to decide this is your breakthrough. It's a decision. It's a decision to get out of the closet. It's a decision to why not me? It's a decision to bless the next generation. I made a decision. Was it easy? No. The struggle is less painful than regret. You'll be 75 years old looking back at your life and what I could have done. Guys, we're on the threshold of the greatest business opportunity in the world. And you know why? Our products are amazing. The Ben Shabbat family are amazing. But it's not that. It's that we get it. This company gets it. You know why? It's you. That's what they get. It's not about all the other stuff. It's about you. So when we put on these events and I prayed, I've got up at 4 in the morning, prayed, I've got just give me some words to say that one person will just get who we are and what we're going to do and what we can do. God, just let one person here, because I know how mighty one person can become. And that's my purpose in this week here. be on that stage. I'm going to give you this life because you deserve it. And you women come along and say, man, let's keep going, let's do it together. And you guys team up and change lives like these guys have been able to do. And we'll just next year, I can't wait to hear your story. Next year, somebody's going to come up to Isaac and go, Isaac, last year I was at that event. They're going to be a new ring earner. They're going, thank you. Thank you for delivering the message of hope. Thank you for helping me turn my jacket inside out. Because I want to tell you today, when it comes to that, it's what I did.
So wake me up.